Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third podcast episode at the Smart Even podcast. Today, we're here with Harry. Harry is a veteran sales manager. He's been working with Smart Even for 1 year, and he's been in the sales industry for 2 years now. What inspired you to become a sales manager and how you got started?
So for me, I landed into Canada like 2.5 years ago. So I did a construction job for about 4 to 5 months. And when I was into construction, I always had one like hunger to become better at the construction as well. So for example, like by what I mean by better, I always wanted to become a contractor. So I already started gathering information on how to like procure contracts, like how to give quotations and stuff. So same for sales. When I came into sales, I was a rookie. I was learning the sales. So right from the first month, I had this hunger inside me that I want to be a sales manager. So I started gathering information that how to recruit and then how to train people. So that's just a natural instinct inside me.
Very entrepreneurial.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so you got started and you're working in construction, and then you wanted to transition um, into sales
Sales.
after that?
Into sales, yeah, because uh, I saw the opportunity and I liked it right away that, hey, it's fully commission based. It's up to us that how much we want to make. And that's the idea I liked.
How's the transition going from salary to something that's commission based? Is it something that's a little bit scary at first?
For most of the people, I would say it is scary. But if you save enough for your 6 month of expenses, for example, let's say for grocery, for your traveling, for your phone bills, etc., if you save up that amount, if you have a college fee, if you save up that for beforehand, that's the only way to be successful at sales. Because if you have stress over your head for something like unpaid bills, then your production is not going to be minimal, very optimal. Sorry, optimal. So that's why you need to have everything like in place before jumping into the sales.
Okay, I see. So you need a little bit of a sort of a safety net.
Yeah,
Um,
just a strong mindset. Like some people don't need money in their pocket to have a strong mindset, but most of the people do.
okay. But isn't it a little bit of a motivating factor as well when you don't have the money?
It is, but what I've seen from my personal experience, like most of the people when they join at this job, if they don't have money for their food, daily groceries, uh, over the long run, let's say if we take 1 year period of time, right? So a person who have their finances in control versus a person who don't have their finances in control, they both are learning at same pace from same person. So the person who is already a wise person, saving, etc., they'll become a better salesperson for sure. Versus the person who don't have money right now because they are in that position for some of their bad habits because of their bad habits. So that's what is gonna drag them back in sales as well.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. Could you tell us a bit about what some of your memorable experiences were in sales? It could be anything. It could be like, first time you close a
Yeah,
deal. Yeah, go ahead.
it's actually a very good one. So it was my second month on the job. It was back in 2021. So we were knocking in Fort McMurray, and it was a Saturday. And then uh, when in my first month, so in the initial 3 weeks, I was not able to score a sale. So after that, somehow I became so perfect at selling in my fourth, fifth, and sixth week that I was selling more than 10 to 15 sales every week, right? But in that particular Saturday, I closed 9 security sales in a day. So that was the best moment for me, like earning more than 5,000 on in just one day. That too, just when you are just very new at the job. So that was the best memorable moment for me.
That's a huge paycheck. Is that with Smart Even?
That was with Kaiman, not with Smart Haven. That was my rookie year.
Okay. And that was okay, so that was still a security, but it was a what kind of a product was it?
It's home security control plus video we sell with Telus.
Hmm. Okay, gotcha. And what took you to that level? Like when you said that you weren't able to close for the first few weeks, like what changed? Um, and then you started being able to close all those accounts.
So nothing changed pretty much. I just knew the art of closing and in my first 3 weeks. So anyone can explain the product, but it takes a closer to make the transaction possible. So that's what I learned in my fourth, fifth week, how to close the sale.
Okay, so the closing aspect was really monumental in being able to
Yeah,
close those accounts. That makes a lot of sense though, because I think you're learning the script um, when you're first starting off, but maybe you just don't know how to transition that into getting the customer to commit. So I think that's very cool that you were able to do that. And
yeah.
I also want to ask, this kind of segues into the next question, like what sets a successful salesperson apart from someone who's struggling to get that first sale? Let's say there's another person and they just started. It's the first second week, third week. They're not able to get the sale. Like, what sets someone apart that is able to do that?
So a successful salesperson, not even a successful, any new rookie who starts sales, um, they can become successful. It's just a matter of their work ethics, right? If they are willing to work hard, they are learning every day. They have their ears open, right? And then that's the key to success. There's nothing else apart from just working hard and believing in yourself.
Okay, so the coachability is I assume like that's a big aspect of it for someone
Yeah.
to be able to get your advice.
If we summarize it, it's just self motivation. That's the number one thing that makes people different.
Okay,
Like
motivation.
any
What about the person that,
self-motivated individual, if they join my team, or I would say any team, I know 100%. I just need to train them, and they're already motivated to work. That's the only difference they have versus other people. I still train them, but they do nothing, right?
what about the natural salesperson?
So everyone is born with the same capabilities. There's nothing as natural salesperson. It's just some people, they are very good at conversations, right? So when they open up with people, so people end up buying from them. It's just
Okay.
they have natural closing instinct inside.
Okay, that makes so like what kind of a person is this? They know how to talk. They're a little bit extroverted. Um, they're likable, charismatic.
Yeah,
Is that fair to say?
yeah,
Okay, cool. But if you don't have that, you can still train them as long as they're actually motivated and they're willing to listen.
100%.
Because you know
Anyone,
this, like you know how to train them.
100% at any given day. Uh, if anyone wants to join the team or any other sales industry, if they don't have any prior experience, they can become successful and better than a vet in just a matter of weeks. That's what I've seen myself personally. Like I've trained so many people. Uh, Most of the times, I would say 50, 60% of the people which we think they are not going to perform good, they end up like doing good numbers.
And that's such a short time period. You said a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's but that I guess there's so much repetition that happens that you just end up learning really quickly, right? It's not
So
like a months long process.
in order to become a good salesperson, there's one thing everyone have to learn or keep in their mind that like I said before, so any rookie, any new person who joins sales today, they already know how to speak in English, right? They can explain the product. Hey, this is the product, this is the price. Anyone can do that. There's there's nothing rocket science in this. But the number one way to earn money and make the sale possible, the transaction possible, is the person should know how to close the sale. That's the only difference. I can explain about the system to you for like 5 hours, right? And still you might say, okay, I need time to think about it, right? But versus there's another salesperson who just explains the system maybe in 30 minutes and then makes the transaction possible. That's the difference. The closing is the main part.
Are you focusing heavily on the closing aspect with like your training and
100%.
your reps?
100%. Closing is the main thing, because product knowledge, we have all the info in the word on the website that this is the product, this is the pricing. Even a customer, when they buy the product, they get the info first, like what is the price, what is the features. So that's something anyone can learn. So we teach the closing.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you motivate your team to keep pushing themselves and to reach their goals?
So first of all, we have daily trainings every day. We have one meeting in the morning, one in the nighttime. So there we go over the stuff, like problems, all the reps that I face during the day. On top, I myself personally, I go in field with my reps. So if they're facing problems in closing, let's say if they're facing a similar objection from past maybe 4 days. So obviously I train them in the hotel, but at the same time, I go with them into the field, I reverse shadow them, and then I try to solve their problems right away on the door. So that's like a live sales training in the field. That's my
Okay,
number one way of making my sales rep sell and then make them efficient right away.
okay. Um, the infield is like, would you say that's the most um, important way, like the most effective way that you found?
Yeah, 100%. It's like in field, I can uh, monitor the sale, right? Like how it's going, where the rep is missing some points there. So I can just jump forward and make this transaction possible.
Okay. Is there any other like very strong source of motivation for reps other than actually closing the sale, like um, competition with their team,
Yeah,
having their
that's a regular thing. Like in any sales industry, like any sales company. So we have incentives, obviously, but the number one difference, I would say, we recognize the small achievements all the reps make, and then we reward them. It's like gift cards, um, and then competitions, dinners, same stuff.
okay, cool. Is there a time when you had to get really creative when you're closing a sale or you had to think outside the box? Is there like a scenario that comes to your mind?
Yeah, obviously there are some scenarios, but I strongly encourage my reps to stop doing these kind of behavior because it actually wastes a lot of your time and your effort. Instead, I tell my reps just to be professional on the doors and explain the product and then go for the close. Um, uh, that's why I do not encourage these kind of things. Obviously, people have stories to tell, but I would like to just advise everyone to stop doing these kind of things. Just go for the sale, be professional on the doors. Obviously, you have to do some little things for the customers from time to time, but nothing on the top of my head.
So you're saying that it's better to just stick with the script and to focus on what's working and to not deviate from the best practices.
100%. Like we have to do extra things if we are not a good salesperson. That's why we have to go extra mile for the customer. If you're a good salesperson, you know your product is better, then you just explain it to the customer that, hey, Mr. Customer, this is the product, this is the price, this is better than anything else in the industry right now. So that's it.
Okay, I think it also probably makes it easier because if you're just sticking to what you know is working, there's sort of less variables and there's less
Yeah,
things that can go wrong, right?
that's why it's better to keep it less complicated at all times.
Okay, that makes sense. And um, for someone who's just starting out in door to door, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier with the traits that are
Yeah.
most important with their personality and their character traits. But is there anything maybe about their background or something that you've seen um, that you know that's going to make them successful in this industry?
Yeah. So the number one thing I've noticed, like all the unsuccessful salesperson, they like 2 to 3 major things in their sales approach, like in their training. So the number one thing that they lack is they don't know their prices, like what is the price for the product, like for the different packages, right? If a customer asks, okay, I want a downgraded package, I want a little bit lesser price. So the salesperson, they have to go through their whole price sheet just to check, hey, what's the lowest um, package, right? So instead of that, they should know their prices right away. And then uh, making a swift delivery of the best offer, that's the thing customers likes all the time. So these are, I would say, knowing the prices and then knowing how to isolate the objections. These are two main things that
Okay.
every single salesperson should have.
And what are some of those really common objections, if you don't mind me asking?
Like for the new reps, like what do they
Yeah.
get?
Yeah.
Okay,
What do
so
they get? What do they struggle with? What do they get most of the time?
it's like so for me, objections are just buying signs, but uh, it's a sales rep who have to recognize like, hey, this is not objection. This is just a buying sign for me. And then, for example, most common objections I would say are, I need to think about it. Give me some time. Come back later. Leave me your card. Very common, normal objections. Nothing crazy.
Okay. And so how do you know if they're genuine?
So now let's say if a customer says, okay, I want to maybe know like what is the contract length, what is the price, how much does the cameras record, stuff like that, how much is the warranty on your device, right? So these are questions that are arising on the back of the head of the customer because they are interested in the product. So you just need to identify it, go for the close.
Okay, that makes sense. What are some of the biggest challenges facing door-to-door sales, the reps or the industry as a whole? And then, is there any way that you're overcoming them?
So for me personally, when I when I started into the sales industry, I heard from other people that hey, in the sales, that it's like in door-to-door sales specifically, you cannot do this job year-round. Um, it's just a summer program, or maybe the income is not consistent, or maybe like it's difficult to become a manager, or maybe it's difficult to hire people. But for me, everything I did somehow worked out very well in the first take itself. So I never had to redo it, right? Maybe I'm luckier, but I just worked very hard to make things possible. When I decide that, okay, I want to have 30 reps, I don't just sit there and wait for the reps to come. I actually start messaging people online. I start messaging my group, right? So that's how you make things happen. There's obviously there's problems in every industry, but it's up to you how you want to take them.
So for you, it's about being very proactive,
100%.
going out and actually seeking the opportunity instead of waiting it to come to you.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, so
But
is
there's
the recruiting?
so yeah,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
the number one challenge to the door-to-door industry, I would
Yeah.
say it's the scam, like the scammers on the doors, the other people who are doing scam. So that's what affects our reputation as well. Other than that, everything is good in the door-to-door industry.
Okay, I see. Okay. Is there what about actually like going out and knocking on the door itself? I mean, you're obviously exposed to the elements. You know, it's raining today, snows a lot in Canada. Does that
Yeah.
affect how difficult it is for you to do your job?
So I just laugh at people who say it's raining today. Hey, it's not a pleasant weather. Because in my head, I think it is not a pleasant weather. People are gonna be sitting inside their home instead of going out for a picnic, right? So I sell most on that day when it's raining.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it. You completely reframed it as actually a positive thing.
100%. That's how I work. That's how I like to work.
Okay, that's really cool. And how do you handle rejection when you and how do you keep a positive attitude when when you're in a difficult situation and maybe
Yeah.
you get rejection?
So I'm a proactive person, just the way you said. So I look at the bigger picture. I don't take it personally, right? So I would say I just respect their decision and then wish them have a good day and then walk to the next door. Very simple. You don't have to. So people have to learn this that in order to become a successful business person or a successful salesperson or be successful at your any job, it doesn't take much. It just takes few basic things that we should already be doing in our life. That's what you need to take it and apply to your work.
Okay. So not taking it personally is pretty important for someone starting off. Is that a huge challenge? Is you know if they're not used to people saying no to them, like is that something that you have to train in your team?
No, so my training approach is very simple. I tell the people, my sales rep, that hey, think let's say if you have to um, just borrow, maybe you need to borrow $10, right? And then versus you have to borrow now $1,000. So now if you approach 10 of your friends, if you message them saying, hey, I need $10, maybe 7 or 8 of them gonna give you the money, or maybe 9, right? But if you message 10 people saying I need $1,000, maybe only 2 or only just one person is gonna give you the money. So same is for the sales, right? They just have to hit enough doors in order to get sales, nothing different.
Okay. Is that the law of averages?
Yeah, law of averages. But there's another thing, right? I would like to add on. So um, when I started into the sales, I never read any sales book or any podcast, right? I used to hear all the time from other uh, co-workers that, hey, bro, read this book, read that listen to that podcast. It's gonna change you. It's gonna make you better at sales. Da, da, da. But the number one thing, so I actually never read a book about sales till this date. So the number one thing that helped me to sell more and become better at everything was just working more number of doors. So what I mean, so when I started in my first 3 weeks, when I was not selling, I was knocking 30 to 40 doors every day, right? So, but I realized like all the vets, they were selling 2 to 3 sales every day from knocking maybe 10 to 15 doors only. Versus me, I was knocking 40, but I was not closing any of them. So I realized maybe I have to work more doors. So I actually started knocking 80. I remember the number. I fixed up 80 number in my head that I have to talk to 80 doors, right? I have to knock 80 doors, not just know. Like I have to talk to them, at least say hello. If they just say hello, shut the door, I count that as one. So I just made sure I'm talking to 40 people, even if they should just simply shut the door on me. So that's when I actually started getting my sales. So the first day I had a goal of 80 in my head that today I'm gonna knock and talk to 80 people. That was the fourth week, Monday. The After the third 3 weeks are over, that was the first day of the fourth week, Monday, and that's when I sold two on my first actual 80 days, 80 doors of knocking.
Congratulations. That's really inspiring. So you increased the numbers and then you started seeing the results.
Yeah,
And then over time, were you able to bring down the number of doors you were knocking at the same
100%
time
now.
increasing your closing?
Yeah, 100%. For me, the ratios changed drastically. So when I go into the doors, it just takes me like 10 doors to close 2 to 3 now. I'm not saying it like for on any given day, but it's just experience that just comes to you that you start recognizing the buying signs, and then just you're just able to close them right away.
What are some of the most effective sales techniques that you've seen in door to door? And how are you like incorporating them into your training?
So the number one thing is building report immediately, and then the second one, I was asking more questions always. That's a two sales technique that always works.
Okay, can you tell us how exactly you're building the rapport?
So by building a report, it doesn't have to be fake. You can compliment their house, you can compliment their jacket, maybe their shoes, or maybe their cool T-shirt they have. It doesn't have to be fake. That hey, like I'm glad you're smiling today, right? Not something like that. It has to be a real, um, genuine compliment, like how we just compliment some stranger, we just smile at them, right? So it just builds enough um, report right away.
What's the easiest way to do that for someone who's doing door to door? Is it their property that you're complimenting? Is it their driveway, their car? Like what's the easiest thing that a beginner can use?
So, for example, let's say if we are conversating today, right? If you were my client, then I would have complimented you for your neat beard right away. Simple as that, right? You have kept your beard trim, nice in shape. That's it. You just need to notice things. That's it. Nothing else. And then see, that's what makes people smile.
Yes. Yeah, I would have
Nothing else.
complimented your beard as well. The
Thank
mustache
you
in
so much.
particular. Thank you. And okay, the second thing you mentioned is the first thing's rapport. What was the second one?
Second one was asking enough questions.
Okay.
More questions, not enough. More questions is always the more the better.
And what kind of questions are these?
So just so any product salesperson is selling, so they just need to ask customer that what do they think about the product, where do they think it's going to benefit them, where at which location of the house do they think they would like to have it. So just keep planting ideas in their mind with their questions. So that's how they already imagine how the product is going to look like inside their home or inside their um, like location, right? So that's the number one thing you can do, like planting seeds with your questions.
So these are all like very tactical. They're not just random questions like what do you
No,
do
even asking random questions would help. Like anything, like asking more questions in general is the key to selling more.
Okay. How do you ask these questions without coming off as sort of being a little bit interrogative?
So let's say if I had to ask you about your previous work history, right? You're just a completely stranger to me. So I would just introduce myself first that, hey, I've done restaurant industry. Then apart from that, I've done like immigration business. I would tell all the crazy stuff about me. Maybe you can lie a little bit about yourself. That's how you open up other people about them.
Okay, I see.
Then you can ask. Then I can ask you anything like, hey, what do you do for work? Like before this, what were you doing? Eh?
Yeah. So you tell them a little bit about yourself, and then they're gonna reciprocate, hopefully open up.
100% all the time. People are just lonely. They just need someone who's uh, who's a good listener, who's willing to talk, and then who have interesting stories to tell.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed in life as well, is that most people are like open to having a conversation, even with a complete stranger.
Yeah. So my personal, I would say my personality from childhood was very introvert. So I was never the kind of person who would just openly communicate with people, and for that reason, I was actually very shy to talk to girls at first, right? So I would say until my high school. But it's same for making friends, same for making your relationships, same for making a sale, same for a successful businessman. You just need to be a good communicator and then a good facilitator. So if you're a good facilitator, if you like, let's say if you provide some facility to other people, you give them a little bit benefits, then you can just make them say yes to anything.
Okay, that's awesome. So, you obviously have a very demanding job. Not only are you doing the door to door, but you're also managing a team. How are you maintaining like a good work-life balance? And how are you making sure that you're not, burning out within your occupation?
So the number one important thing for that is keeping a regular clean diet. So in the door-to-door industry, we're always traveling, like shifting cities month to month. So it's difficult to have a consistent diet, but I make sure whenever I move cities. So I just always look for meal options in the city where they have delivery, they just deliver to my hotel directly. So I always have a consistent meals coming in from um, the meal subscription joints. So it's a little bit more healthy than buying from restaurants, right? That's
Yeah.
the most we can do.
What kind of food is it that you consider healthy?
Like at any given day, a lot of meats, like for proteins and veggies.
Yes,
Uh,
I have to agree.
I like boiled veggies. That's the that's the number one thing I eat.
Yeah, if you can keep the sort of processed foods to a minimum, and you're not eating, I think sugar is a huge thing though, because like you have this massive
Yeah,
insulin spike, and then you
I
feel
have. Sorry to cut you off, but I have zero processed food intake. Obviously, let's say if I'm out with my friends, then I can just eat anything. But in my regular diet, 7 days a week, it's just a meal delivery service coming to my hotel. That's it.
that's really good. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep it to maybe like twice a week, but I think obviously seven would be ideal because
Yeah.
you just don't feel as good when you're not eating good food. I think whatever it is you're doing in life, like whatever profession, especially if you're, in sales and you're active and you're going door to door, I think it's even more important. But um, yeah, what you eat, I think, does have a huge impact um,
Yeah.
on your performance and just overall mental well-being. So,
Yeah.
what about exercise?
So we have a gym at every hotel. So now, what we do, so we make a group of, let's say, 4 to 5 people. Um, we go to the gym maybe like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Depends, like whoever wakes first, they call other people. We're a little bit lazy in that, but we make sure we go in group. So it's just, we are more connected to the team. And then, to be honest, like right now we have about 30 people in the hotel. And then we have almost everyone have their workout groups, like six people, five people. They just go on their own timings. Some people go in the morning, but almost everyone in the team, they go to the gym every day.
I think that's a really effective way to do it because the accountability just makes it easier. And then just going with people, having fun while you're going to the gym makes it so much more
Yeah.
enjoyable. So that's really good. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of being a sales manager or being a rep in general in door to door?
So when I started as a rookie into the sales, right? So I was looking at the lifestyle of other managers. Um, Everyone was making more than 30,000 a month, right? Just the managers, like in the sales reps, they were making anywhere around like 7,000 a month up to maybe 15,000 maximum. So I always had in my mind that how to make income like these sales managers, right? So if we look at any sales manager, the number one rewarding thing is actually the money. It's really good if anyone is managing a team of 30 to 50 people. Uh, the lifestyle is going to be totally different than any regular person, any other normal job, right? So apart from that, the experience that comes from being a sales manager, like your personality, uh, communication skills, and then in general, like maintaining relationships with anyone, like be it friendships, be it family, um, that improves naturally when someone is managing like 50 people at a take. They know how to respond to the emotions of other people. So that's the most rewarding thing, like money wise, and then your personality wise.
Okay, I've never heard that one before. That's really interesting. So the skills that you're learning, is it called interpersonal, intrapersonal? I'm not sure, but those skills are transferable to other areas of your life, and they're actually improving
Yeah, 100%.
relationships outside of work. Yeah, but I think the money aspect is I think that's what most young
Yeah,
people in this industry are aspiring for. They want the BMW, they want the nice watch.
100%. Everyone needs it, right? And
Yes.
then this is the job where anyone can make these things possible within the first 6 months. Like making 30K a month is not a big thing here. You just need to put in the extra amount of hours and then just talk to extra people every day, maybe 40 extra people in a day. And then everything is possible.
I think that's so cool about this job or just sales in general is that you actually have a realistic timeline and you have this blueprint of how I'm going to go from zero to making that 30K or whatever within 6 months, right? Whereas with a regular job, that's usually non-existent. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people that make 30K a month in a job, but maybe they've worked at that company for 30 years.
Yeah.
And they're now at like some executive position. And it's just not realistic for, I think, most young people to earn that kind of money on a salary.
Yeah.
But with sales, as you said, there's a lot of people that can do it.
Yeah. And a lot of people are actually doing it. From my experience, I've seen, let's say if there's uh, a rookie joining in today, right? So this is uh, April 20 today. So any rookie who joins today, they have the potential to make 100K in the next 6 months at this job. Why? Because um, I've seen so many people doing it in their rookie year. That's why I can say this with, I would say, strong belief that anyone at any given day, if they start their sales career into the door-to-door industry or any other sales career, and they put in, if regular people, they are putting in 6 hours of the work, they have to put in 10 to 11 hours every day. If they put in 10 to 11 hours, then no one can stop them from making 100K or even more, whatever their set limit is or set goal is.
Wow, that's powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I think that's a great way to end this podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That's very inspiring. Thank you for all of the value that you provided. We heard some really cool stories. And yeah, that's it for today's episode. If you guys want to learn more about door to door, if you want to contact Harry, where can people reach out to you? Where can people find you?
So on the Smart Haven website, smarthaven.ca, I have my full my phone number, email, everything is there. If anyone needs like sales training for mobility stuff, go ahead, message me, right? I will reply to your message right away. And my email, I work on my email just like text messages. So if someone sends me an email, I would also reply to that right away. I'm available for trainings, recruiting related stuff. If anyone needs to know how to recruit more, just DM me on Instagram or my Smart Haven page. That has all my info for Instagram, Facebook, phone number, and then the email.
Okay, perfect. We will actually include that in the description below so people can just click on it and contact you from there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. If you like this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at smarthaven.pros. That's at smarthaven.pros. And thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.